The movie begins in Detroit, Michigan, where a reluctant 12-year-old boy, Dre Parker, is preparing to move out of his apartment with his widowed mother, Sherry, who is allowed to relocate to Beijing, China, to be employed at a new position in a car factory. Though the life change visibly saddens the boy, he remains hopeful for a fresh start, getting encouragement and well wishes from friends at the complex. Almost immediately inside the plane, Sherry passes the time by studying Mandarin, which should help her and her son fit in with the locals. Dre is forced to practice the language with a nearby passenger, only to find out he only speaks English. Not long after, the mother-son duo arrives in Beijing, where they meet the local social worker, who escorts them to the apartment complex. Dre immediately befriends another American boy, Harry, who lives in the building. The social worker explains the housing policies and leaves them to settle into the apartment. After a brief conversation with Sherry, he runs an errand to alert the handyman, Mr. Han, to fix the shower. Upon reaching the shed, he is shunned away by the maintenance man, who feels disturbed by his presence while eating his lunch. The young boy then gets invited to play basketball with Harry and the other local kids, attracting a young girl, Mei Ying, who plays the violin. To get her attention, he joins a pair of seniors playing ping pong and challenges one of them to a game. Though Mei Ying sees him get beaten, she is seemingly amused by his peppy personality. Harry challenges Dre to get to know her, and Mei Ying reveals that she speaks English fluently and is musically attuned. As Dre performs a robot dance to entertain her, a group of boys led by the rebellious 15-year-old Cheng intervene, demanding Mei Ying cease their lighthearted conversation. Cheng then whacks him with his kung fu skills before Mei Ying stops him. Dre keeps the incident a secret the following school day, applying concealer to his face to mask his injuries as he prepares for school. Sherry notices and worries as she drops him off for his first day. Mei Ying helps Dre pick food at lunch as he struggles with chopsticks. She explains that Cheng is a close family friend and apologizes on his behalf for his hostile behavior. Later at home, Mr. Han visits the apartment to fix the shower, instructing Dre on how to use the switch. He then cunningly watches as Sherry argues with Dre about his laziness in hanging his jacket. The next day at school, as Dre hides from Cheng and his friends, he chances upon Mei Ying practicing with her violin on stage. After a friendly conversation, he leaves the auditorium, only to bump into Cheng, who threatens him to keep his distance. The next day, Dre and his mom tour the city streets when the former becomes enamored by a martial arts academy where the students learn kung fu. He then becomes discouraged upon seeing that Cheng is one of the kung fu prodigies, leaving hurriedly while arguing with Sherry about migrating to China. Mr. Han somewhat eavesdrops on their conversation as the boy expresses his frustrations while hiding his true feelings. While on a field trip to the Forbidden City, Mei Ying suggests that Dre tell someone about the bullying, but he hesitates, despite getting approached by the headmaster. After the tour, Dre follows Cheng and his friends on the street and exacts his revenge by throwing a bucket of dirty water at them. The angered bullies then chase the American boy until they corner him in a gated area near the maintenance shed. Before Cheng strikes Dre further, Mr. Han intervenes and warns the boys to stop, defending himself with his incredible kung fu skills until they relent. He then takes Dre inside the shed to nurse his wounds using the ancient Chinese technique, shova, which is fire cupping. Realizing he is a kung fu master, Dre asks him to be his teacher, mostly due to his fear of bullies. Though Mr. Han initially refuses, he takes the boy to Lee's Fighting Dragon studio, hoping he can make peace with the boys instead of fighting. The pair then witness Master Lee's harsh teachings as the students spar with one another while showing no mercy. Cheng accuses Mr. Han of attacking him, prompting Master Lee to initiate a fighting session to even the score despite the maintenance man's hesitation. With no option but to fight, Mr. Han declares that Dre will compete in the upcoming kung fu tournament, provided that Cheng and the other boys will leave him to train properly. The master reluctantly agrees, threatening to do something drastic if the boy does not participate. As they leave, Mr. Han explains to Dre what happened, promising to teach him kung fu, to prepare him for the tournament. Early on Saturday, Dre leaves the apartment and goes to Mr. Han's house for training, informing his mother about his eagerness to learn kung fu for self-defense. Upon arriving, Dre is immediately curious about the derelict Volkswagen Scirocco in the driveway, visibly needing repairs. He then tries to impress Mr. Han by demonstrating his agility and flexibility, having taken gymnastics in his American school. Curiously, Mr. Han's first lesson is teaching Dre to repeatedly hang his jacket, take it off the pole, and wear it before removing it again, which is essential in enhancing muscle memory. Though the boy finds the training discouraging, he practices daily, rain or shine. At school, Mei Ying invites Dre to come to the Shaolin Theater and see her at the Shi Festival. The following afternoon, Mr. Han teaches the boy to work on his attitude while hanging the jacket. Not long after, Sherry invites Mr. Han to join them for the festival, to which the older man reluctantly agrees. Upon reaching the temple, Dre secretly excuses himself to meet Mei Ying, giving her a CD mix featuring various classical musicians. They sneak behind the stage and watch the paper puppet show about a goddess and her young lover. The goddess's mother disapproves of the relationship, splitting the sky in half with a river. Fortunately, the birds in the sky feel compassionate and create a bridge for the lovers once a year to help them reunite for one night. Dre then teaches Mei Ying to pinky swear as they promise to go to each other's events. Eventually, Dre gets fed up with the repetitive actions with his jacket, vocally expressing his disinterest as he prepares to leave the house. Mr. Han then reveals the true nature of the training method as Dre realizes his actions teach him how to be strong and firm, learning proper stances in Kung Fu. The pair spars as the boy follows Mr. Han's commands and lets the movements flow naturally into defensive strikes. After the session, the older man explains that Kung Fu is present in everything they do. Some days pass, and Mr. Han takes Dre on a train ride along the Wudong Mountains to learn how to control his chi at the Tomb of the Dragon Well, located at the very top of the mountainside. After a grueling climb on a flight of stone steps, the pair reach the Taoist temple, where monks harness their chi by performing graceful and skillful Kung Fu techniques. Dre is mesmerized by a woman perched on a dangerous stone overlook as she moves before a poisonous cobra. Mr. Han then lets Dre drink water from the Dragon Well to absorb its mystical benefits. He teaches that the woman lets the cobra reflect her actions, moving like water. Later by the river, Mr. Han uses two large wooden poles to control Dre's movements, teaching him to properly channel his energy and focus. On the train ride home, he gets touched by fatherly instinct, patting the young boy on the back while he sleeps. Dre attempts to practice focus techniques a day later, annoying his mother during lunch. More weeks pass as the young boy gets tested on other laborious tasks like push-ups, kicking off high objects, anticipating attacks through a cloth sheet, and learning to balance himself. Dre notices improvements in his physique, much to Sherry's surprise. Eventually, Mr. Han allows Dre to take a break from training for one day, which thrills the boy, who learns that too much of a good thing is not good. The next morning, Dre encourages Mei Ying to waste time to keep her mind away from the upcoming audition. The pair have fun at the arcade by showing off each other's dance moves. After enjoying a blissful afternoon, Mei is soon informed that her audition is happening in 20 minutes and gets fetched by her parents. Dre runs to school and barely arrives in time to glimpse her outstanding violin solo. Unfortunately, her parents force her to cut ties with Dre due to her tardiness, believing he is a bad influence. The disheartened young boy rushes to Mr. Han's home, only to see the older man drunk and destroying the car he has been repairing. He then regretfully explains that his amateur singer wife Zhang and 10-year-old son Gong Gong died after he lost control during an argument and crashed the same car years ago. He keeps fixing the car every year, only to smash it to remind himself of the incident. To help him overcome his trauma, Dre leads Mr. Han into the courtyard with the wooden poles. He initiates the training session, performing the swift movements perfectly as his mother tearfully watches from outside. Over the next few days, Dre improves his conditioning for the upcoming tournament, training at home and along the pathways of the Great Wall of China. While progressing through his daily routines, he tries to get Mei Ying's attention, only to be shot down at her father's behest. Still, he continues to be motivated to perfect his Kung Fu skills, achieving a balance in strength, speed, and coordination. Sometime later, Mr. Han takes him to the dojo and gifts him with a white Shaolin uniform vest for his hard work and for teaching him a life lesson about getting back on his feet after difficulty. At night, Dre asks for his help to construct a message in Mandarin to help him gain the favor of Mei Ying's father and reinstate their friendship. His rehearsed speech wins him, allowing Mei Ying to keep her promise to attend his tournament. The day arrives as Dre and Mr. Han are officially introduced to the Kung Fu tournament. Mr. Han hurriedly reads the rulebook, urging Dre to focus and earn 2 points per round to win a match. The anxious young boy experiences a shaky start during his first match, getting warned for leaving the mat. Not long after, he builds his confidence to showcase his skills with Mr. Han's support, allowing him to score enough points to advance. The pair later witness a swaggering Cheng breeze through his matches. However, Dre remains undeterred and focuses on winning each match. He and Cheng reach the semifinals, with the latter outshining his first opponent with his aggressive skills. Meanwhile, seeing Dre's progression, a calculative Master Li orders his student, Liang, to hurt Dre and impede his path to face Cheng. Though visibly reluctant, he obeys, crippling Dre's left leg during the fight, which subjects Liang to a disqualification. Though Dre advances to the final match, the doctor who checks his injuries dissuades him from competing. The young boy then begs Mr. Han to use fire cupping to heal his leg, which he adheres to, realizing the boy's motivation to overcome his fears. After a miraculous recovery, Dre faces Cheng in the finals, with the latter fighting aggressively. At the behest of Master Li, he attacks Dre's leg to make him lose balance and struggle. Luckily, Dre composes himself, using the woman's snake stance he observed at the temple to intimidate Cheng, much to Mr. Han's surprise. He then catches Cheng with a flip-turn kick to defeat him, winning the tournament. A gracious Cheng presents him with a trophy, feeling awed by his incredible skills. Surprisingly, the Fighting Dragon team bows down to Mr. Han, acknowledging him as their master while leaving Master Li to sulk. The movie ends as Dre fist bumps Mr. Han, feeling accomplished, as the crowd cheers wildly. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.